It's possible we could turn the tide and show people where the real problem is and explain that the mainstream media is trying to distract black Americans, African Americans, from double unemployment since Obama got in, to the open borders displacing their jobs, to being targeted with abortion, and show the MSNBC strategy is to keep blacks on the Democratic Party plantation. Sorry, go ahead.
Without question. And fortunately, the younger generation is beginning to give an ear. And that has been exciting, and that has been something that has been motivating us. And I believe this time next year or a year from now, they will regret ever coming up with that mantra, Black Lives Matters, because we're going to expose them for who they are, that all Black life matters. And Congressional Black Caucus, one of the biggest problems that black people have, the NAACP, the National Action Committee, the Rainbow Coalition, all are intertwined in this. They're all in agreement of carrying on this deception in the black community. But their biggest mistake will be having used this as a means of communicating their cause. It is going to elevate our cause and expose the genocide, systemic genocide in the African American community, the targeting of the African American community. I'm sure you basically realize it was like, I believe it was once again a test run. I think they're testing to see what they're doing, but to actually nominate Margaret Sanger to be on the $20 bill. I believe they did that just to see the response and how it would be.
You know, I'd forgotten about that. She's been Time Magazine Woman of the Year just a decade ago or something after she was dead. She'd been Time Magazine when she was alive. This is a literal hardcore racist who gave awards to Nazis, got awards, and they're saying put her on the dollar bill or the 20.
On the $20 bill. You know, I don't have the platform I would love to have, but we were yelling and screaming, and I was writing many of the black media saying that this is an outrage. In the age of political correctness, you know, the comments that this woman has made, her own words, and you're going to suggest her to be on the $20 bill, it was outrageous. But, you know, something, the game is this. If they can flood us at one time with so many different issues and problems, we become desensitized to outrage. And that's where the church has lost its power. There is no outrage in the church any longer over these blatant atrocities, these blatant deceptions, these blatant criminal acts. I'm saying, and my radio, I do a little radio program and it went off, I guess, but I'm saying to myself, how in this day and age is Hillary Clinton a viable candidate with all of that is being exposed at one time? If it's not the servers, if it's not email, if it's not Benghazi, if it's not foreign diplomats giving to her foundation, but yet this is the candidate, basically, especially the African Americans who 90 to 95% support Democrat candidates. This is the person, and yet she is defending, accepting the Margaret Sanger Award, boldly accepting it, and yet she's going to ask and court the black vote. It's like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I don't understand, but it's like we're just being totally, it's like the frog in the water.
You're right. Reverend Childress, blackgenocide.org. Let's expand on this for a moment, because you're quite the historian on these facts. For people that don't know, break down, I mean, it's on record how the Rockefeller Foundation, Margaret Sanger and others totally changed the black community, went in, bought off a bunch of preachers, and because they said blacks don't, trust us, but they'll trust black preachers. I mean, these are letters that she sent, as you know, to the Colgate Foundation, and there's letters back and forth. They were giving her money, and it's her whole battle plan. You look at it today, and I'm not saying that the Republicans are great either, but the Democrats were the party of the Klan. When they couldn't get blacks to believe them anymore, they flipped and said, oh, we love you. Look what's happened to the black community since they adopted everything the Democrats wanted. It's just totally insane that they've gotten away with this. It's just crazy. Talk some about that.
Well, you know, the most diabolical part of that, it was called the Negro Project, is that Margaret Sanger, she was a very evil woman, but she was very discerning. And she said, in order to control the black community, we have to get the colored minister with high communicative skills. In other words, community organizers that we would buy out. And it is no surprise, and your listeners should understand that Barack Obama did fundraising events for Planned Parenthood before he was president of the United States. He was the prototypical person of the Negro Project plan in that letter to Clarence Gamble of Procter & Gamble. So we got to understand that she also recognized that if she can control the ministers, she would be able to control the African-American community to accept abortion as a means basically of birth control. And that was her goal. And so, and you mentioned, this is a woman who tutored Adolf Hitler, who had ties. Philip Stoddard was on her board, constantly went back and forth from the Third Reich communicating. When they changed the name from the Birth Control League, it was to Planned Parenthood. Nobody left. The staff was the same. The heads were the same. They just changed the name. And the ideology has not changed.
Sure, and I may have made a mistake earlier, but I conflate things. Now I'm going back in memory. I know it was Procter & Gamble letters, but then also Colgate Foundation was involved somehow. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going from memory.
No, it very well may be. I didn't check that out recently.
I'll have to double check and correct it if I'm wrong. The point is,
he was the heir of Procter & Gamble there, so Colgate may have been involved also. But
absolutely. Well, I'm going to check into it and make sure my memory's not faulty. I want to come back, though, because I mentioned this once, almost embarrassed because it sounded like pure bull. And you went, of course, I hear that all the time. I want to talk about when I was going to pro-life rallies a lot, 16, 17, 18 years ago on Access TV. The local black leaders had shows down there, and they literally said the most amazing things to me. I want to repeat when we come back. But they had a lot of the community organizer people in there that drove, like, very nice Mercedes-Benz. I mean, late models, newer models, and nice suits, everything. And, man, they hated my guts. And when I started really doing a lot of pro-life stuff a few years into it and talking about black genocide and things like that, they would actually get in my face in the hallways. These are guys you'd see on the news, guys you'd see at the city council and stuff. And then they would file complaints on me and say I'd called into their show and called them the N-word. And I was pretty sure, since I started watching the tapes of it, they were having people call in and then say they were Alex Jones. And one time, one of the guys confronted me, and this is like a gray-haired old black man. He goes, sharp dressed, well-spoken, the whole 9 yards. He goes, listen here, we're sick of your crap. We need to get rid of these, these poor scum black people. I forget the words he used. I think it was some pretty, this is a long time ago. And then that happened to me a few other times where I'd be demonstrating at a Planned Parenthood or whatever, or covering it, and black people walk over and say, there's too many black people, we need to get rid of these people. And then now we have videos of Asian abortionists, black abortionists saying similar things. And I would tell people those stories, but it just sounded insane. And now I learned from talking to other black leaders around the country that are pro-life that they get the same thing. So these are people that knowingly are getting money to get rid of their people, and they hate them. And it's like bizarre. It's like the most hardcore Klan member, but it's a black liberal on TV talking about how much they love black people, and behind the scenes, they're like, nobody wants these nappy head N-words, and you need to shut your mouth. And you're just like, what the? I mean, how do you hate your people? I mean, what if I was being paid to get white people to kill? I can hardly even talk about it because it's so insane. It's so demonic. I want to keep you 5 more minutes of the next segment to cover other issues, and I want to put on screen for TV viewers a famous photo of Margaret Sanger addressing the Ku Klux Klan. We're going to have big signs of these out tomorrow at the main Planned Parenthood in Austin. It's a huge facility exposing this witch. And I'm sorry I'm ranting, Reverend Childress of BlackGenocide.org. It's just that bringing up those memories, I was actually having flashbacks to all the horrible things these two guys pulled on me and how much they hated me because I didn't want to abort babies. I mean, it's crazy. What do you say to those stories? Have you experienced similar things?
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, it becomes very much a part of their makeup and character because they're also monetarily being fed by the pro-woman, pro-abort, the Planned Parenthoods, as I stated in the plan for it was.
But they hate black people.
They've never said that, but their actions would say that.
I mean, they talk about the unborn babies hatefully.
Yes,
nobody wants these nappy babies.
Yes, you've even heard black abortionists say the same things. It's evil. First of all, abortion is evil, plain and simple. And you open up your heart and soul and mind to evil. And it doesn't surprise me that these black ministers who were profiting from it and also had bought into I don't want to go into that, W.E. Du Bois, the talented 10%, where he said the top 10% of African Americans should be salvaged and the other 90 are expendable.
And he was funded by the Rockefellers again.
Yes, and that's true. But also, here's the problem why Alex Jones's program is so important and what you do is so vital to America. You know, you mentioned the TV, the programs like
back in 70 seconds, sir. Back in 70 seconds. I want to have you back on the nightly news for a full hour soon. And it's cold in here and angry when I was flashing back to those guys. And just the love of killing, the love of death. I take it as a threat when there's people like that running around. I mean, none of us are safe, folks, when this stuff's going on. Do you understand that? Where's the empathy? Join Jakari Jackson tomorrow at the demonstration in Austin. Have your own All Black Lives Matter. We're sending the hashtag out, hashtag All Black Lives Matter. We're linking it to our Infowars.com story and to blackgenocide.org. I think I'm going to send a tweet out here in a moment when we go to break. Top liberal caught meeting with the Klan. And then say, yeah, here she is back in the 40s, Margaret Sanger. We'll put that image back on screen. See, that's the way you got to get people to look at it, because they just go, oh, Time Magazine says she's the great feminist. No, she was who Hitler admired and who he got his marching orders from on eugenics. Now, we only got 3 to 4 minutes to break. I'm going to give Reverend Childress the floor to finish up. I know I've been ranting, but other key things folks should know about. I want to encourage you, sir, to continue what you're doing, for folks to support you, for you to continue your radio show, to do more YouTube videos, and for other people to do it as well. We've all got to fight. People are ready to be awakened. You have the floor for the last 3 minutes, Reverend Childress.
Yes, and I just want to say again that your program, you got to, people should support, people should get behind, do whatever we can to support mediums such as this. Because you mentioned groups like Rockefeller, Carnegie and Mellon, Colgate, Procter & Gamble. PBS is supported by these people. And so if you want to have My Alpha 21 on PBS, it'll never happen because it exposes these foundations for the things of their eugenic present and past background. So there's very few mediums that really want to talk about black genocide and eugenics and will do it objectively. And so I thank God for your program. I pray that you continue doing what you're doing, and just thankful for the spiritual connection that we've had. And when it comes to Black Lives Matters, if people want to support what we're doing, you can go to the website. Our mailing address is on there. But everyone can do something. You may not do what I do, but there's something we can do to expose this darkness. America needs to recognize that we have 56 million babies whose blood is crying out from the ground. And after a while, God visits innocent blood and he asks the question, where is your brother? And so we're going to be posed with that question sometime in the near future. And our hearts need to be able to say, we've done everything we can within the scope and within the resources that we have to stop this genocide, to stop. And yes, all Black life matters. I believe I probably saved more white babies than black. But our focus is on the African-American community and the deception that is being carried by African-American leadership, which has been disgraceful. They are guilty of gross negligence of the worst kind. And we're going to continue to expose it as much as we possibly can. And I'll be praying for that rally in Austin on tomorrow. Grateful for that effort. And I pray that this is something, as it has proven, it connects the dots, especially with those students. So pray
well, I'm
for
just
us.
blessed. Well, thank you, sir. And it's at 201